This is proper lookout. Yes, this is where we want to be. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first S24 Ultra episode of the year. I just got this phone yesterday. Technically, this is Camera Lady's phone. It's not my phone, and this is not sponsored. I paid a lot of money for this phone, and I'll still be paying my S23 off for the next year and a half. I wanted to come to a place to test this out because the biggest concern I have is definitely the zoom. So as you guys probably know, they took out the 10 times zoom and they put in a 3 and a 5x. But I wanted to come to a place that has everything, wide all the way to medium to hardcore zooming, and this is the best place. We're like a couple hours from my house. This place is amazing. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go in here to the settings, and I'm going to make sure that we have the right things going on. This is what I'm changing first. This is the most important thing for me. If you want serious images, then turn your RAW on. That way you can use Pro mode, and it'll save a RAW and a JPEG, and that'll be the best thing for you. I'm not going to turn on the high efficiency pictures. Intelligent optimization, I'm going to leave that on, but do not turn on the scene optimizer. Do not turn that on. It is wonky. It always does bad things no matter what mode you're in. So that's just something I always turn off. All right, so that's looking pretty good for now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here to Pro mode. I just want to come in here and I just want to start looking at some compositions, what I'm going to do. So you'll notice that when we're in Pro mode, we have the ultra wide, we have the wide, we have the telephoto, which is the 3x, and then we have the super telephoto, which is the 5x. So if you want any more from that, you're going to have to pinch to zoom in. Let's go walk around. I'm going to talk some more about the camera stuff, but I want to walk around and find some wide angle stuff to look for, because there's a lot of potential out here, but it's deceptive. It's like this place is gorgeous, and you can point your phone anywhere and get like snapshots, you know, and be like wowed by the stuff. But I want to try to put some like actual effort into like finding a decent composition. The light is really bad right now. It's overcast, and I was hoping we were gonna get a sunset, but I don't think so. So we're gonna work with it. This is a nice view. Let's see if we can make something happen right here. Oh, we got a little bit of light, Brittany. Yes. Framing is quite challenging out here. Alright, so let's do a screenshot here. I'm going to show you a couple things I'm talking about for like this being hard. So this is what we're looking at. This is our scene. So if we were to come in here and do, you know, something like this bit right here, it just gets lost, even though there's a lot of separation, there's a lot of compression. And then it's really hard to just see all the depth in there, right? And then so if we do something like this, same deal. Like there's a lot of the same tones right here. We're getting things are getting lost. I don't know if I can find, with this lighting, I don't know if I can find a good image like that. But what I'm gonna try is I'm gonna put this in ultra wide. I saw these patterns right here from like where the water stains and stuff like that. I like that a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this ultra wide to stretch this bit and to stretch this bit. And I'm going to come down like this. Oh, my knee's in the shot. So if I stretch that, because I don't want very much sky, but we're kind of like it like that. So I'm just going to work with a couple shots like that, and I'm going to try not to fall off the edge, and I'm going to try not to get my foot in it either. So I'm just kind of looking around to see where I like the framing. Kind of like that too. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tap down here. Well, first, okay, I'm going to take a shot there. Let's reset. Okay. So first, I'm going to tap there. This would be better with a tripod, but I'm too lazy, even though it's on my back. Now I'm going to tap in the back there. I'm going to take that same shot. I'm going to blend those two together. I'm going to stack them, focus stack them, so that we'll have this sharp, that sharp. And then with some good editing, I think we can pull out some good details and mess with the light in here a little bit to give us more of that contrast. And I could just be making stuff up completely, and that image might not work at all, but we'll find out. That's part of landscape photography. All right, I'm gonna get down here. Okay. Man. All right, so we just finished a nice big, about 4-mile loop almost, and this is about as good as it's gonna get for sunset. So I'm gonna show you guys a couple things. All right, so we're in pro mode. You can see we've got that sliver. So I wanna do a couple of I wanna grab this shot, and I wanna see, this is just an average metering. So I wanna see if we're gonna be able to work with that and pull it out or not. The detail and the shadows. So now we're gonna go into the telephoto. We're about to get the sun in there. And then now we're gonna go into the 5X. And then now I wanna go to the 10X. Oh, look at that backlight. How gnarly is that? All right, now let's go to, I'm gonna show you guys how much processing this phone is doing. So we're going back to the regular photo mode, and I'm gonna take the same shots. So there's the wide, the 1X. I'm not gonna do the ultra wide because that's stupid. There's the 3X. There's the 5X. And here we go for the 10X. All right, so it's processing. Look at that. You can see it processing in real time. All right, there, it's done processing. So this is the 10X. That's some wonkiness right there. Like you see all the artifacting around the edges and stuff. That's how hard it's trying. So that was the 10X. So 5X, again, if we zoom in here, we can really see it struggling with the backlight. And then also, it's not looking mushy though over here on the back, on the bottom right. That's actually looking okay. And there's the wide. Now let's look at pro mode. So This is Pro mode, and this is the RAW, and the RAWs are always going to look way softer. And then there's the JPEG of that RAW that it processed. You know what I noticed is that the JPEGs, when you're in Pro mode, the JPEGs, because it will still give you a RAW and a JPEG, and it will compress and it will edit that JPEG in the phone, but it doesn't edit it nearly as much as the JPEG mode in the regular photo mode. Oh man, this is where I'm wishing I had a 24-70. Camera lady is literally pointing down to the 24-70 hanging off of her shoulder right now. This is where I wish I had my 16-35. I didn't bring it. This isn't really the best spot for landscape. My gosh, if we could be somewhere good right now, this entire place is like the most amazing place, and we went the wrong way. Like, it was the right way, but it was the wrong way for the light. If we would have gone backwards and did the loop the other way, we'd be ending up in the pretties right now. Oh man, this is unfortunate. This light looks incredible. Okay, so we're gonna head back to the car and drive home, and then I'm gonna hop on the computer and look at a couple of things. I wanna look at the RAWs on the big screen, and we'll see. And I wanna take a look at the couple of shots that I did with S23. I wanna take a look at those on the computer too. So let's just go back to the computer and I'll see you in a second. Oh my goodness. We're in the wrong spot, Brittany. Ugh. All right, back in the studio. So I've had a chance to look at some of the images, edit a few things. Let's jump into the computer real quick and I'll show you some of those edits and some of the images, a couple of those S23 comparisons, all of that good stuff, and then we'll finish up from there. All right, so let's take a look at this real quick. So here's these two. This is the same image, but this is Pro mode, and this is the raw DNG, and then this is the JPEG that it gave with it. And then this one is a similar shot right before that was in regular mode for the JPEG. So let's open up both of these JPEGs. These are both JPEGs, and this one was the one from Pro mode, and this one was the one in the regular photo mode. You can see right off the bat that this JPEG from the regular photo mode has been pushed harder and it's been sharpened more. It's got more contrast, more detail, and a little bit more saturation. So that was the first interesting thing that I wanted to point out to you. Okay, so check this out. I wanted to throw this out here too real quick. So I edited this, I got some better light, and for this shot that I didn't film this on a different trail, whatever. One of these is a phone shot, and one of these is shot with my Canon R5 and 100 to 400 millimeter lens, both at roughly 100 millimeters. And they're both edited the same with a preset pack that I used with one of my presets, and all the same editing. The framing's a little bit off because I did it handheld, but you get the idea. So the one on the left is the phone shot, and the one on the right is with the R5 at in the 100 to 400. So a couple of things that I wanted to look at here, and this was shot in Pro mode. This was the DNG that I edited. So it wasn't the over sharpened JPEG, so I think this is a little more natural looking. So one of the things I wanted to show you was the depth here. Because the sensors are getting bigger now, we're having more depth of field. We're having more inherent shallow depth of field with the lenses. But I wanted to show you, this is the full frame. So you can see here that this is blurred out a lot more than this. And then you can see that transition of this being blurred out more than this right here. And then in both cases, the subject was this cluster of rocks right back here. So this is subjective in terms of which one you like, and the edit is definitely subjective. But like I said, I wanted to intentionally push this a little hard on both of them. I do like the image though, overall. I like the out of focus bits, and I'm really impressed and happy that the phone was able to pull something like that off with the compression and everything. This, oh, did I mention this was the 5x telephoto lens? I think I did. So here's one in that canyon that I did, camera lady walking through. It needed a bit of help. You know, I had horrible light, and so I added a little light in here, and I kind of overexposed to give that bright, airy feel. So you can see this is the before and the after for what I did, just in my efforts to try to make it some sort of usable or better photo. I think that came out okay. And again, this was in pro mode. This was with the ultra wide lens. So 2.2, 13 millimeter full frame equivalent. I think this low key was one of my favorite shots from the phone. I loved this massive spire, this rhyolite spire right here. And I just did a little bit of tweaking to it, gave it a little vignette, a little clarity here, and a little boost in saturation. But we started to get some nice light for the evening, and this was right before we finished up our hike. So we've got the glow here. We've got just a pinch of blueness in the sky. This was raw, and this was on the regular 1X, so the 23 full frame equivalent, 23 millimeters. And yeah, I think that was low-key one of my more favorite shots. I think the phone did a good job there. Didn't do anything wonky. And I just really thought this was a cool scene. Okay, so here's a shot that I took in pro mode, but this is the JPEG that it spit out. Okay, so that's already been edited in the phone. That was edited. Now here's a shot that I took in the regular photo mode, and this was the JPEG that it gave me, and this is edited way more. So it's way more HDR, way more dynamic. You can see how much it pulled those highlights down, and you know, if you zoom in, you probably don't want to do that, but you can see how ugly you start getting the color fringing, and you know, you get the completely blown out yellows and this highlight here. But the fact that it pulled all of this, you know, from this, and then here was this is the DNG, this is the raw file. So the fact that it did that JPEG, so like, I don't even know, I can't even pull that much out of here, this detail. See all this, like right here, like I'm adjusting all of this stuff, and it's still completely, if we look at the histogram, like it's still completely blown out there. Do you see this whole business? So this is the raw that's just been edited, and that's the JPEG. Like, look what it did. Like, that's the AI in the regular photo mode that's doing this kind of editing, and it's crazy how it can push that. Like, it looks like it just kind of like took this paintbrush, this paint bucket, and filled this in with yellow. like it looks like it just matched this yellow tone and then just filled that in. I don't know. That's pretty wild. All right, let's take a look at one more here. This was low-key one of my favorite compositions. Like, I love this tree. I love the golden hour light on it. The mountains looked great. So this is the 5X telephoto in pro mode, the DNG raw edited, and this is cropped into 10X. On the phone, this was cropped in, not in camera. Not in the computer. But this is where we started. Look how mushy that is. You know, because obviously these mountains are far away and the tree's far away, but that's just mushy, you know. So that's what you get right out of the box with the 10X. And then this is after 3 rounds of sharpening, I was able to, before I pushed it too hard. So it can be brought to a usable level, but that's mushy. That is very, very mushy. All right, so that was before the sky got good, but check this out. Okay, so here's the raw DNG. Here's the JPEG that went with it in pro mode. And then here is the JPEG that the phone spit out in the regular photo mode. And just look how over processed that is. So over processed. I don't know, just to me, that particular one looks quite yucky. And then here's the JPEG in Pro mode. But now you can see it's mushier because, again, we're at the 10x. We're in low light now. We're getting in low light. This was still, so you can see the difference between how over sharpened and just over. You can see the halo on the mountain. You can see all the, I mean, the clouds had that texture in them, but they're just pushed so hard. So here's the raw. And we could try to clean this up ourselves, but it's not going to look that great. It's going to need some help. So this was from the 3x telephoto, and this was in RAW, and this was the DNG that I edited. And this is what I started with, and then this is after a couple of rounds of sharpening. I was more happy with this composition, especially because I couldn't get anywhere good, but this came out nice, I think. It just required a lot of extra sharpening still. And we had a nice sunset. It would have been cool if I could have gotten somewhere to do something with a foreground. All right, well, that was my first round of landscape photography with the S24 Ultra. I'm definitely still bummed on the ultra wide lenses, and that's not S24 Ultra specific. That's just like phone specific in general. The ultra wides just, they don't, they're never as good as the regular wide or the telephoto, the main telephoto. And that's just kind of physics. It's really hard when you're dealing with these little lenses and these little sensors and all of that. But I will say, I don't hate it. And I actually ended up using the ultra wide a lot more than I thought I would for a lot of these images. And I think if I would have had some better light to work with, better conditions, then that would have helped a lot. But aside from that, I'm still pretty happy with what this did. And I'm glad that I have this capability, especially with the ultra wide, in my pocket. Now for the telephoto, like I said, I was definitely concerned with losing the 10x from my S23 Ultra. But after I did a couple of comparisons, especially this one, I think that did a great job of showcasing, you know, the S23 Ultra 10x optical versus the, which was like 12 megapixel or something. I don't remember what it was, but it's a lot less than the 5x, which I think is a 50 megapixel, and then cropped in. So you're still, even cropped in, the 5x cropped into the 10x on the S24 Ultra still out-resolves the S23 Ultra by a little bit. Now you could clean that up and you could do some extra sharpening and you know, whatever. But I definitely feel okay about having to crop in sometimes. But as you saw, like when you get in low light, like with, you know, with stuff like this, the 10X, it needed a lot of help, you know, to get this sharpness out of it. And it was really mushy. And that's just, again, that's physics. That's the tiny sensor. That's the lens. That's the atmospheric distortion. You know, all of that plays a role in, especially in telephoto shots, when you're talking about sharpness and what you can get out of it. I use the 10x a lot on my S23 Ultra, but a lot of times I find myself in the predicament of like 3x is not enough and 10x is too much. And then at that point, I just have to crop into the 3x. So having a native 5x and then having it with the extra resolution, being able to crop in, not necessarily to 10x, but 6, 7, 8, whatever, like just little incremental crops to get me the focal length that I want for, you know, whatever. I think that's going to be all right. All right, but I'm going to wrap it up. I am going to do some more videos. The next one coming out should be the Astro. I'm going to try out the Astro photography. Obviously, we can't do Milky Way yet until late March, so we still got another 7, 8 weeks or so, something like that, before we can really get out and do some Milky Way. But I'm going to test out the Astro mode and the Expert RAW and see how that does. Maybe go for Orion and stuff like that. So that'll be next. Let me know down below what you think about the S24. What do you think? Obviously, this wasn't a full photography review. This was just my first time out with it. So I'll be doing some more videos after the Astro stuff too. If you have any questions about anything that I missed or didn't go over or you want to know, leave those in the comments below. And if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Hit that like button for me. It's the best thing you can do for the channel. I will see you out there probably in the dark for the Astro mode coming up next. Thanks for watching.